recording. Okay, so this last one is the public module. Not everybody is using it, but it can be very helpful for your students as you're working with them. Instead of getting paper copies, everything is done, and it's immediate feed into student information. So as soon as they put in their request and hit submit, you see it right away. So it's nothing that they can like hide and, oh, I'm just going to work on this a little bit here and there. It's immediate feedback. So the procedural checklist is in the Learning Center. It's called Public Course Request Procedural Checklist. Okay. There is an example in the documents area for the public online request example. So you can see kind of what a letter looks like, how it prints out if you're interested in using this. So SYI and student promotion have to be completed, which those are done. So now we're going to look at a few things. The first thing we're going to do, so I'm going to go into my management, school administration, scheduling administration, and then where's my public module? Nope, I think I went too far. Scheduling administration, where's my public? Oh, we already did our courses. Course groups, hold on. Because it's not in, it's in here. I'm going too far. It's right here. It's my public administration. Okay. So we already set up our courses. We set up our course sections. So those are all done. As long as the check mark in our course was checked for is a display on public module, this will work. Okay, so that was task 1, making sure that those are set up. So task 2 is making sure that now that it is configured correctly. So we're going to go to our application configuration. Okay. We want to make sure that the school year is the school year that we are working in. So I'm working in 26-27. So I want to make sure that this is 26-27. Okay. Next is my student validation method. We're going to leave this as none because we're going to give the students an ID and a password. So that is how they'll log in. Everyone's will be generated. They'll be separate. Okay. Social security numbers are no longer in there. So it's just best to use the generated passwords. If you want your guardians to have access, that is an option. So if you want them to have view-only access, when you're creating accounts, it will create one for the guardians as well. When they log in, they can only view what their students put in there. They can also modify and lock. So that means they can make changes and say, nope, I want my kid taking Honors English 10. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. The student can't then modify it because the parent did. Okay. If the guardian goes in, usually it is a view only, but there are some other options. The dates of the application availability. So this is when you are going to have the students start working in here. So for example, if you know you're going to start working with the students next week, you can put in next week's dates. Okay. So I'm going to say my students, they started working, I wanted them yesterday through, I'm going to get through all the classes by March 9th. So this is when they can log into the system. If it is outside of this date range, their login, username, and password will not work. If you have an external course catalog, you can copy and paste the URL here. It does have to be posted someplace. It has to be a link. You cannot post a PDF here. Okay. And then you would check, use the external course catalog. So then it's going to default to that. If you leave this blank, it will show all the courses that are available for that grade level based on the miscellaneous tab, the grade levels that were selected. Okay, so it'll generate a list of all those courses. If you're allowing guardians to go in, are you requesting guardian approval? Okay, so typically this is set at none. If you are requesting approval, it will not automatically approve the request. So you then have to go in and approve each one individually. So typically that is set to none. Are you going to allow the alternate course? How many credits minimum can they take? And then how many maximum can they request? So in this case, they have to take a minimum of 3 credits and no more than 8. Because maybe we have 9 periods in the day and I want them to be able to have a lunch period. Okay. Maybe you have 10 periods in the day and you want them to be able to have a study hall and a lunch. Enforce prerequisites and co-requisites. So do we need to look at those to make sure that those are working properly? So if I'm trying to schedule English 10, did I complete English 9? And if we are looking at those, what action is happening? I want to warn them to say, hey, you don't have the prerequisite completed for this course. Okay. If you don't want it to look at the prerequisites or co-requisites, you can uncheck that. What classes are they allowed to request? Typically, it's always class. If you categorize yours as CCP classes, if you have grouped classes, and some of you might have satellite classes. Typically, you don't allow your kids to request lunches or study halls on their own. You're going to fill those in for them with either a bulk request for lunches and or the study hall wizard with the for study halls. And then your spare and case management, those are the ones that like we assign to those teachers, so they don't really need access to those. The request cutoff date. So maybe they're allowed to log in from February 9th to March 9th, but I want them done scheduling by March 1st. So after March 1st, when they log in, it'll be view only. They can still see their request, but they cannot modify it. So that's what the cutoff date means. Okay. So that's done. I'm going to hit save. Next, I'm going to go back to my public administration in the breadcrumb trail. And next, we're going to generate our accounts. So I'm under public administration. I'm going to say account generation. Okay. What kind of account am I making? I'm only going to do a student account today. If you want students and guardians, you can do that. What is the lifespan? Okay, date limited. So that's going to go by those dates. Okay, the date range, when you can log in, when you can't. This date range should match what you used on the other screen. So I did February 9th to March 9th. Oh, this should be 2006 though. Okay. And what if they have an existing account? We are going to reset it. Because do you think a kid's going to really remember what their username and password was last year? No. So we need to reset those every year. If you want a specific student, you can put in the information here. If you want a group of students, you can do your active non-res here. I'm just going to pull in one student to look at. I'm going to look at one of my seniors. So if you want to do a grade level at a time, you can do that. And then I'm going to say preview students. So if I look down here, I have 3 different atoms. So it is showing me what their existing student account was, but the account still is not created yet. So it's just showing me these. Okay, you need to select the ones that you want to create. Not quite sure why Ben has 2 of them. So we'll just generate this one, and I'm going to say create account. Okay, so now that account for Ben Adams has been created. So now the second step is to, oh, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one more student and have him created. Okay, now my next step is to actually print the letters. So you don't have to do anything by writing stuff down. So I'm going to go back to the public administration, go into my account information letter. Okay, so if I want this for a specific student, well, I'm just going to do specific number so it's the correct kid. Okay, it's a student account only. This letter verbiage, you can have up to 600 characters. So this is the website that the students will use, si-public.tccsa.net. And then how do I want this sorted? By grade, then student name, then grade, however I'm going to see these kids. And it's going to populate a PDF. So I'm going to say submit and look at my letter. So here it created. Here's the demographic information. It will automatically populate, and then it populates the username and password. And then that verbiage that you put on there will be listed below. Another item that you can do, so maybe you are running those letters, you're going to give them to each of the students so they have them. You also want to be able to see a list of students because you know some student is going to lose theirs. Okay, so if I come down here, I can say create a spreadsheet, hit submit. Now what it's going to do is produce a spreadsheet. And it's going to have all of, just give it a second, all of the students that have been created and their usernames and their passwords. Okay, so you see their name, their student number, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So that's something for your record. Then you can sort this, do whatever you need to do in Excel. Okay, so now let's look at what it looks like as a student. So I'm going to look at Ben here first. So Ben is one of my students that we pulled in the information for. Oh, did I just close that tab and I didn't want to? So if I look at his course requests, he has none. Okay, so now I'm going to sign in. Let me get his username. And then his password. Okay, I'm going to log in. Okay, so it's going to give me some of my demographic information. Ben is a 12th grader. Here's a student ID. Request cutoff. It's showing that they have access till the 1st, but the application will be open till the 9th. So if they want to check stuff. And then they can kind of sort here, but if they don't know exactly what courses, they can just hit search. So this is going to be all the classes that are available for 12th graders. Okay, so if it was not marked on that on the miscellaneous tab to allow for 12th grade, then it will not be visible here. So if I come in here and I know I need to take English 12, I can, oh, I must not have met the requirements, the prerequisites. So notice English 12 is not showing because I did not meet the prereqs. Okay, so that's one of those things. If you're enforcing it, it's not available for me. So if I want to take something like financial literacy, I can click on the plus and it's going to add it. And notice it says that it's pending. I also can do things like maybe I want to take creative writing and current events. So I can check off multiple things. And then I can say request the selected courses. Okay. If I say review requests now, I'm going to get a message to say, hey, you don't have enough credits. It says it has to be between 3 and 8 because that was my restrictions for these kids. And I only have 2 so far. So I need to cancel this and I need to add another credit. So I come in here and I'm like, okay, what else am I taking? I can take, we'll do art 1 and 2. Okay, and then request. And so now I have enough credits. I can say review. It's going to show that they're all pending. Okay. So if I go before I even hit submit, this is the problem. They need to make these buttons different colors everywhere else except on the screen. So kids forget to click on this button. But if I go to my requests for my student and refresh my screen, I'm going to see them here as pending. So with this saying pending, I know that this student has not clicked the submit button yet. Okay. If I click on the edit, okay, I'm going to show here that the student created this and it is still pending. Okay. So now I'm going to, in here, I'm going to submit my requests. So it should have been submitted. If I look here, I'm going to refresh my screen and now it's approved. So if we look back up here, it's going to show that these are approved. I'm like, oh, this student already took financial literacy. They don't need to take it again. I can come here, click on the trash can. It's going to remove this request for the student. Oh, come on. Okay, so it's removed. Now I'm going to go back, refresh this screen, and you can see financial literacy is gone. So even though they get to submit, you still have the final say in what they can and cannot take. So then if I want to come here and say, okay, this student does need to take English 12, I'm going to come here, put in English 12, save it. So we see it here. Now go back to my requests, refresh, and you can see that it's here. They can't do anything with it, but it's there because it was added. So maybe this student didn't know that they took financial literacy. If you say include completed courses, this checkbox, it will show any courses that they took in red. So then they know which courses they already completed. Okay. Any questions with the public module? Okay, the last thing I'll show you is just if you want to see those students, actually let's go back. I'm going to print out my information for my other students. Um, Okay, let me get into his real quick so you guys can see this. Sign out of Ben. Oops, I didn't mean to print that. Close this one. Let's open up. Oh, I closed that accidentally. Okay, so let's look at Tommy Two-Tone here. I'm going to put in his information, sign in as him. Okay. And I'm going to pick a couple things. So I added English. Okay, so it's warning me that I did not meet the minimum requirements. I'm going to take a creative writing and something fun. We'll do a current events. Okay, so you can see that I have these in pending. I just log out. Didn't do anything, didn't submit, didn't try to review. But if I come over here to Tommy's and look at his request page, you can see that they're still here. Okay, so he didn't hit submit, didn't do anything, but they're still there. So you're like, well, do I have to go student by student to see who submitted, who didn't? Nope, there is a report for this. So if I go into my public administration, it is called uncommitted requests. So this is going to show me the students that have not submitted yet. So if I go to committed requests, I can pull up an individual student. I can look at my active students. If I want to look at a grade level, I'm just going to do my 12th grade because I know he was a 12th grader. Okay. Then I have show students without requests, which my list would be really, really long because I only did 2 requests. Unapproved by a parent or uncommitted by the student, which means they did not click the submit button. So if I click on this, I'm going to hit search. And then Tommy Two-Tone should have appeared because he did not hit submit. Okay, so then I know go talk to him that he needs to submit, or I can go into his courses individually, which you would much rather have them go in there and then say approved and hit save. Okay, so that one's approved. I can go into this one, approve, and you can actually just click next, approve, and then save. And then they should all be approved. Okay, so that is the public module.